Hello, fourth graders. Welcome to our Bible class. Today we're going to learn about salvation through faith. So before we move on, I'm just going to take this time to review what we learned last week. So last week we talked about different men of faith and how they demonstrated and proved their faith towards God. And the examples of men of some of the examples that we found from the Bible are Noah, Abraham, Sarah, Moses, Abel, Joshua, and Paul. And obviously there are much more other people from the Bible who demonstrated amazing faith. However, today we're going to learn something even more amazing. So let's look at the screen. You see 3 words on the screen, and they're not just random words. Actually, they are very closely related. So I'm going to call them one by one. Grace, faith, salvation. And I assume most of you already know the definition for each word. However, today we're going to today's lesson is a little different because it's not about the definition, but it's more about the relationship between the 3. Okay, I know grace. What is grace? Grace is, well, it has many different kinds of definition, but according to our textbook, grace is something good given that is not earned. So what does that mean? Something good is given that is not earned. Here I have included a photo. There is a customer buying food, and the cashier is giving the food to the customer. Is this grace? The cashier is giving the fruit with a smile, and this customer is purchasing the good. Yes, she is giving something good. However, is she being graceful? No, not at all. Well, she is very polite. However, this is not a perfect example of grace because the customer is purchasing the good. That's why the cashier is giving the fruits and other items. This is not an example of grace because grace is something good. Yes, everybody can give something good. However, that is not earned. This is I'm going to highlight this word because this is the key point. Grace is very different from purchasing or buying because it can never be earned. So this is like a free gift. And that's why we use this term to God, because He is graceful. So let me explain this again. So God is very graceful, and then we believe in and then we cling on to God's grace because we know that He is offering good to us that we do not deserve. So we know now we understand the term grace. Then what about faith? What is faith? Faith has very similar it might sound very similar to grace, however, it's quite different. Grace is a gift from God, and it cannot be purchased. And there is another biblical definition. I found it from Hebrews 11, verse 1. It says, faith is the assurance, that means proof of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. So this is from Hebrews 11:1. So another term people usually interchangeably use faith and belief together. Then what is salvation? According to our textbook, it says salvation is the act of being saved or rescued from the consequences of sin. Okay, so we all know the story of the Garden of Eden. And because we committed a sin, because we partook the fruit of the good and evil, we have to take the consequence of that sin, which is death and which is judgment. However, salvation is the only way, that is the act that's saving us from the consequence of sin which we commit each and every single day. Then my question is, how are they related? So here Miss King drew the triangle, upside down triangle, but we know that this means they're related and they're connected. Then how are they connected? So in this lesson video, we're going to find out how are they working together. Then what is faith? So here I wrote the definition. It's a gift from God and it can never be purchased. However, that definition is not enough. So anything can be a gift. For example, my brother, my family, my health. Everything is a gift from God and it can never be purchased. However, does that mean that that's faith? Faith is, so in this picture, this boy is doubting. So when someone doubts, is he being faithful? No. When I'm checking, for example, so here is a example from our daily life. Let's say I promised my brother that I'm going to buy him a new pair of shoes. And I made a promise, and if he really believed me, then he would have waited for me. However, he's checking on me every time. He's checking my room, he's checking the mailbox, and checking the internet whether I ordered or not. Is he believing me? Is he trusting me? No, that's not being faithful, and that's being rather unfaithful. So doubt is not being faithful. That's one thing that I really want to get across. And another thing, the second definition sounds a bit harder than the first one. It says faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. So when I was really young, fourth grader, I did not understand this verse for a long time. I tried to wrap my head around it, but then what does that mean by assurance of things we hoped for and conviction of things not seen? It might take a long time for you to understand this, but what I learned from this definition is that faith is assurance. This is a proof. So when we have something we are hoping for, faith is the evidence that this will happen, and conviction of things not seen. So there are so many things that we don't see in this world, and not just all the emotions are not visible, and God in heaven and hell, everything is not visible. However, because we know, because we have faith, though we don't see, we know it exists. So that's how I understood this verse. However, feel free to take more time to think about this definition, and please share it with me when we come back. And so today I'm going to tell you one story, and his name is Hudson Taylor. Yes, J. Hudson Taylor. So here's the story. J. Hudson Taylor was an Englishman who was born in 1832. So let me write down some key term here. Although he went to church, Taylor had little faith in God until he was 17. After reading a Christian pamphlet, he realized that Jesus had died for his sins. Taylor accepted Christ and began to prepare for a life of service to God. He was particularly interested in serving in China. At that time, few Chinese people had ever heard about Jesus. Taylor studied medicine so he would have an opportunity to help Chinese and teach them about salvation. To save money, he moved to a neighborhood in England where many families had little to eat and suffered from disease. Taylor worked for a doctor who often sent him to help these poor families and to pray for them. The doctor often forgot to pay Taylor on time. However, Taylor decided not to pester the doctor for his salary, but instead to trust God to provide for his needs. He only had 1 coin left, but he gave it to the family, knowing he had no more money to pay for his own food or rent. But God provided. The very next day, Taylor received a good coin worth 10 times what he had given away. From then on, Taylor learned to live by faith. So this is a story about Hudson Taylor. He is an Englishman who was born in 1832. Up until he was 17, he did not believe in Jesus that much. However, after reading a Christian pamphlet, he realized that when he was 17, he realized that Jesus had died for his sins. Here we go. And also, so ever since that, he prepared himself and he studied a lot, and he finally became a missionary. And he went to China to serve people there. So he became a doctor to cure for poor and sick people. However, his life was not very luxurious. Rather, it was very challenging, and he faced a lot of hardships. And one day, he had no money. He only had 1 coin left, and this coin was not enough to pay for his rent, not enough to buy food. However, what did he do? He gave away the last coin to poor. And even when he was working as a doctor, he did not get his salary on time. However, he never doubted. Rather, he fully trusted that God will provide. And what did God do? Did he forget him? No, never. God provided everything. And Taylor even got 10 coins. And so through this story, what I want you to understand is that this is faith. Faith sometimes is very hard to keep our faith because we don't see things around us. It's not very visible. It's not very tangible. However, we trust in God that He will provide us the way. He will protect us, and He is always watching us. So here I'm going to tell you the answer. I'm going to give you the key for the relationship of the three. Because of God's grace, because we believe. So let's start from faith. Because we believe in God, because we know Him, and then because we are relying on Him, God will provide us, and God will save us through His grace, and that's how we get the salvation. So we are going to learn more about this in this week, and I'm going to be uploading more videos. However, please understand the relationship between the three. If you have any question, please let me know, and there will be an online assignment. Please remember to take it too. So have a good studying time. I will see you later. Bye bye.